Well, good evening. I keep saying good evening. It's the second week in a row. Good afternoon.
It's 3:30.
It feels like it's good. It feels like it out there with a little bit of the rain.
It do be getting dark earlier now.
Yeah, when I walk out of the sports office at like 5 o'clock, it's already dark outside. I'm like, oh, it's that time of the year now. So,
Yep.
But we have a little bit of rain right now. Hopefully that holds off for us when we're
Yes, bring
shooting.
your rain gear, bring your rain boots, bring anything to keep you covered from the elements tonight because it might start going about halfway through these games.
Yeah, so we will probably have our umbrellas, our ponchos, or whichever to keep our equipment dry because we have a fun week of high school
So
football.
many games, so many teams still alive because we cover such good teams.
And it's week 10 regionals, so one step closer to that obviously coveted state championship. And as you can see with our lovely graphic here, game of the week and a rematch of week 6 of the regular season. Good old St. Mary's and Osage City.
Yes, last time this happened, it was a one-score game. Osage City was able to win it because of explosive plays. It was close all the way through, and then Osage City just managed to run away with it at the end with an explosive play. So St. Mary's is looking out for that this time because this is a fight to keep your season alive, as we know.
And Osage City hoping to stay undefeated.
Yes, and if they win tonight, they would go 10-0 for the first time in school history.
That's pretty cool.
We'll start by talking about the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
So that last, as we were talking about, that last game that they played each other was 24-16 to Osage City at home. St. Mary's had a very good game in round 1, beating Central Heights 49-0. And the Bears have played and won 3 straight road games. It's pretty solid, outscoring opponents 95-9. And Katie, I know we had the KPZ Pregame, and they've been without Brady Hurla for a couple weeks now.
Yes, they lost him back in the Council Grove game, went down with an injury, and has been out since. So Coach Marple told me, it can be scary for a lot of teams when they lose their starting senior quarterback late in the season or even just coming into the playoffs. But they had a few weeks to adjust without him, and Junior Lane Smith has stepped up very nicely, and they've been on a bit of a hot streak ever since, so clearly something's been working out. He said Brady Hurla has also done a really great job in kind of taking on an assistant coach role, so it's always cool when seniors in high school have that maturity to be able to do that and learn like that. But they're playing their best football right now. They get a big confidence boost winning 49-0 last week, shutout fashion. They weren't even sure if they would make the playoffs. When it came down to the final week of the regular season, just based on the new rules about making the playoffs and the smaller classifications. They needed a few things to happen. Some people lost, some people won, helping them get in. And clearly it was well-deserved because they've been playing well so far. And they played really well on the road. They have a better record on the road than they do at home this year, which might be in their benefit tonight because they will be at Osage City. Yeah,
which is crazy because there are some teams that, for some reason, perform better on the road than they do at home.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
And their only road loss was in overtime.
Against Riley County. So, I don't know. I wish I knew that answer of why some teams play better on the road than they do at home. I don't know. Maybe it's just obviously matchup purposes, but
Coach Marple did tell me he feels like his guys have gotten in a really good rhythm when it comes to the game day, when it comes to going on the road, because most of the teams they've been playing throughout the year have been all the same distance away from St. Mary's, so they just have a really good routine down of when they're going to do stuff, when they're going to hit the buses, what they're going to do on the buses, keeping themselves busy and focused. So maybe it's just practice makes perfect.
Well, you know what? And also it helps if you do make that state championship. That's also, I wouldn't say it's a road environment, but it's a neutral site environment, which you're not playing in your home turf.
Yes.
So that also can help,
and
obviously.
2A this year is in...
I think it's in Hutch, I believe. I think.
I
Don't quote me. I know they had some changes too there, so... this should be a fun matchup. St. Mary's at 6-3 on the year. Hopefully going to make it to sectionals for them, but obviously they have a pretty big beast in Osage City who's 9-0 right now.
Their second undefeated regular season in school history. The last one came in the 1970s or something, just according to Coach Gantenbein. That's what he told me earlier this week, but they also never had a team that's made it 10-0 on the season. Their best record of all time is 9-0. So if they were to win tonight, it would be a historic win for them.
That's pretty cool. And and I remember watching this game. We had a live stream up in our newsroom of this game on the TV, and it was 70-0, I think, or 70-6 at halftime. And, obviously they win 76-6. But in home games this year, Osage City is awfully good, scoring 265 points and only allowing 67. So... And if this says it here in this season, they've averaged about 44 points a game and only allowed 13. So
Kason Parsons definitely leads that offense, and he's great. The rest of the offense is full of seniors who have been starting for multiple years, so they know what it takes to win in the postseason, and they definitely don't want their seasons to end because it's their last one.
No, and it's great because this 2A bracket
Loaded.
is loaded.
It's been loaded for several years now, especially with teams like Nemaha Central going back-to-back and all that. So
Silver Lake and Rossville was in 2A, now they're in 1A, but Osage City, St. Mary's now in 2A, Sabetha's still in 2A. A lot of great teams in 2A. So this bracket is fun. It obviously has great teams in it, and this should be a very fun matchup in Osage City, where Michaela Kelly will be live for us at 6 and 10 o'clock, so be prepared for her post-game and pre-game coverage of this big fun. Maybe she'll have that towel again if Osage City wins. If you remember that, if she had her little win towel or whatever they had, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see if Osage City wins.
Unless it gets drenched, who knows?
Yeah, that too. That too.
Well, we got a lot more games on the docket for this week. This is in particular an exciting one: Council Grove and Silver Lake, 13 and 5 seed.
Yes, this one I'll be at, so say hello to me if you are at good old Silver Lake. They beat us another matchup from earlier in the regular season. Silver Lake won this one 29-12. Silver Lake, they pretty much dominated Galena. I was at that game, and they were up 21-0 when I got there, and obviously the result of there, it shows you 61-0.
As we typically see in week 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, normally, yes. And Silver Lake's 2 losses against Nemaha Central and Osage City have a combined record of 17-1. So we were just talking about how good this 2A bracket is, and that explains it there. And Silver Lake is 4-1 at home, so should bode well for them. And I know Silver Lake played Council Grove, I believe, at home as well in this game.
Yes, Silver Lake beat them 29-12.
So another one that bodes well for the good old Eagles and Coach Pegram over there. Hopefully going to go to sectionals, another program that is nothing short of knows how to win.
Yes.
And we'll see if they can make it to sectionals.
But Council Grove for sure would also love to make it to sectionals, and they would love to pull off a road upset, which they already did last week when you come in as the 13 seed in a bracket. You bait your road games for the rest of the year. So they won on the road last week, taking down Caney Valley 35-14. That's impressive. 13 against a 4 seed. You don't see upsets like that very often. So
no, and the rushing attack here, they have as a team about a little over 1,400 rushing yards. 23 touchdowns. Ace Monahan, we've called his name on our show.
I was actually at this game, Silver Lake Council Grove, at the end of the regular season, and Ace Monahan can confirm is a unit on the ground.
Well, if that explains anything, just has a little over 1,000 rushing yards this season. And then London Doty leads the team in tackles with 71, and Holden Ziegler leads the team in total tackles for loss, which is 19. That's good.
Yeah, I think this game will come down to how well Council Grove can defend the pass, because Council Grove runs the ball really well. They do have a decent passing attack, but they for sure run the ball very well. So it'll just come down to can their secondary come up against Silver Lake's passing offense, because Silver Lake does like to throw the ball, and they're pretty good at it.
They do. Dyson Schooler has a pretty good arm, and he's got a couple of good weapons. You know, Logan Cathcart, Dane Johnson, who are names we've called a lot on Kansas Prep Zone. So, I totally agree with you, Katie. If Silver Lake can, use their pass game to their advantage, they should have a pretty good matchup. But if they can't stop the run, might be a nightmare of a night for Silver Lake.
Yes, and the winner gets the winner of Humboldt and Riverton in sectionals next week.
So we will see if one of our teams, it's sad that 2 local teams have to leave. It's
sad,
which stinks.
but it also makes for really fun action when they get to play each other.
Exactly. Well, our first time covering both of these schools this year, and it's kind of hard not to when you're 8-1 and 9-0. Good old Burlingame and number 1 versus number 2 seed already. In the second week of playoffs.
Yeah, and we can basically call Hanover 9-0 because their only loss of the season was against Axtell.
Yeah.
We know about Axtell.
Yeah, we know how good Axtell is, and this one should be good. 8-man football at Burlingame this week. They defeated St. Paul last week, 54-0. Their passing attack is pretty good. 1,677 yards, 39 touchdowns, and just 1 pick. That's in 9 games. That's pretty good.
Yeah. You're usually going to see a high-scoring game in 8-man, especially with 2 teams like this. And we know Burlingame always has a high-scoring game, as well as Hanover. And both of them are coming off really dominant Week 1 wins, 49-0 and 54-0. But Burlingame's defense has also stepped up this year, which you can always tell by a shutout. But Dane Winters leading the team in tackles with 55. He's got 5 picks and 5 passes defended. And if this sums up anything, Burlingame has outscored opponents 592 to 106.
That's a lot of points.
That's many points.
And this one's cool, too. Hanover has shut out 6 teams this season and outscored them with 313 points.
Oof.
That's
pretty good. If there are favorites that are going to come and spoil Axel's four-peat, I think it would be either of these two. So
yeah, no, I certainly agree. I mean, these numbers kind of explain it all. The records explain it all. And I don't know if you ever see really a number 1, number 2 seed in week 2 of the playoffs. Normally
that's just kind of how 8-man works.
Yeah.
Kind of unfortunate that we're losing them this early, but I guess that's how it goes. And next week, whoever wins this one would get the winner of Marmaton Valley and Frankfurt, another one of our schools who's doing well this year.
And Frankfurt, one of their only losses is
Axel.
No surprise there. So, yeah, this should be another fun matchup. We will have a camera at this one, so say hello to our camera guy.
And it's at 6 o'clock, if you haven't heard yet.
Also,
Burlingame, Hanover, 6 o'clock.
You know, a good point there. And this is an upset here. Valley Center at 3-6, the 11th seed beating Goddard last week. 49 to nothing. I don't know if anybody expected maybe 49-0 shutout for an 11 seed versus 6 seed. That's pretty good. So I know if Seaman obviously had a huge dominant win against Topeka West last week, this should be a game that you really can't overlook. If 11 seed beats the 6 seed 49-0, that should
Yes, especially when they're 3-6 on the year coming in, and Seaman is 7-2.
Yeah, and Seaman's home, so that should help them hopefully have, home field advantage. I know, Katie, you've been to games there before. I've been to games there before. They always have a great crowd that always gets behind them, so that should help them. The big thing is, we've talked about all year is Max Huston and Briar Finley. If they can get going, they should be okay. Yeah,
I guess we're just going to see if the Valley Center upset over Goddard was just a crazy coincidence, or because, they did start the season 1-7. And then just somehow kind of got their footing towards the end. So if it was just a crazy coincidence, I think Seaman has got this in the bag. If not, this is going to be a good game.
I think so. Max Huston here, just some of his stats there: 2,142 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 8 picks on the ground. Seaman has almost 1,800 yards and 22 touchdowns. Cameron Bryan leads the team in tackles with the century mark of 100 in total tackles for loss, which is 8. So this team has prided themselves on defense as well. Obviously, offense has been a big potent for them in terms of Briar Finley. I think they had 5 touchdowns last week against Topeka West.
Yeah.
So this should be another fun matchup, and I kind of like that logo too.
Yeah, they sting.
I think they're the bees. If I'm not mistaken, the bees or the stingrays or somebody. Oh, look at our little turkey.
Activate feast mode.
Look at our little turkey.
Because Thanksgiving is almost upon us. What's your favorite side dish?
Ooh.
Stuffing. It's a good one. I am one of the minority believers that mac and cheese is a Thanksgiving side dish.
I think so too.
Specifically when it's made right and when it has like breadcrumbs and stuff in there. I do love a mac and cheese, but mashed potatoes and stuffing are always great.
Now, I'm trying to think. I just had it in my head of something else that do you like sweet potatoes?
I do like sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes is
not
bad.
I love any type of potato usually.
Yeah, sweet potatoes is not bad.
That also means French fries.
Also means fries.
And hash browns.
That's right. And that's where you have about 3 meals and then you know.
Yeah. And these teams have certainly been feasting as of late. Manhattan to start 9-0, scoring 50 or more points in 6 of their 9 wins.
Yeah, and they have a matchup with Maize, and we will be at that game.
Maize defeated Washburn Rural last week, so we know they're going to be good.
Well, and according to our sister station in Wichita, KWCH, Maize was 0-4 to start the year. They switched quarterbacks. Now have won 5 in a row. So Maize is coming in hot. Manhattan, we know, plays very well at home. Their team is a lot better and more experienced, as we've talked about this year specifically. It should be another fun one. And from what I'm told, Avery Johnson might be at that game because obviously it's his alma mater. And obviously they're in Manhattan. So
go take your selfies.
So we'll see if Avery shows up on the sideline tonight in Manhattan. Another
team that is also 9-0 on the year, the Jackson Heights Cobras. They have been outscoring their opponents all year 508 to 23. And I was there last week, and I witnessed the dominance. And yeah, these guys are good. Felt like literally every drive was either the other team had the ball, it was getting picked off, or they were going 3 and out. When Jackson Heights had the ball, they were going to make it down the field in 3 plays. So,
yeah, it's crazy what Jackson Heights has been able to do this year, and we will have a camera at this game as well. They're playing Troy tonight. Jackson Heights, and I mean, if they move on, they might have a matchup with Rossville next week. That would be a fun one if both teams can pull it up. Yeah, 508 points.
Yeah, I
pretty good.
I think Jackson Heights Rossville could be game of the week worthy because Rossville has won 6 straight after starting the season 0-3, and they've outscored their opponents 244-51. So yeah, rough start for Rossville to the season, but they've certainly gotten their footing and they've pulled off some pretty impressive dominant wins so far. So
I just saw a little graphic we had there. Valley Center beat Goddard 7-6. Just a correction, so it wasn't.
They were a better kicker away from tying the game.
One extra point away. That was good old Isaac, our digital manager, if you heard him over there. So just wanted to make sure we got that right. And we did have one game played last night. Clay Center lost to Andale. I believe it was 74-76-0, if I'm not mistaken. So Clay Center finished their season at 5-5. So that was one game that played Thursday. Oh, Isaac's going to come in and say hello?
Isaac's coming over.
It's my fault on that one.
Here's the mic.
Right?
It's my fault on that one. I take the bullet, guys.
Probably the only appearance we'll ever see from Isaac. So
he does exist. And
he does
has
exist.
a face.
And he's the one that makes these lovely graphics for us. So if you like the turkey, write him a good note. But yes, no, these teams are definitely feasting this year. And we'll see if all 3 of them can move on the next week.
Alrighty, we shall see. Games? Ooh,
like
you've
this
outdone
graphic.
yourself, Isaac. We got a lot more games on the docket than just the ones that we have previewed so far. Like we said, Mays will be at Manhattan. We will be there. Rock Creek has moved their game to tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., where they're hosting Holcomb, just kind of in anticipation of the weather. McPherson will be at Wamego. We will have a camera there. Junction City will be at Derby. Our sister station, KWCH, will be there providing that for us. Perry-Lecompton paying a visit to Frontenac. They had a big win on the road last week against Santa Fe Trail.
That they did.
The Cause. Girard will be at Hayden. I will be there, so say hi to me. And Holton will be at Wellsville. McLeod will be at Rossville. Will be at Centralia.
I'll be at Rossville, McLeod. That should be a good one, too. McLeod's, I think, 6-3 on the year, just like Rossville, so that should be a fun one. Again, we mentioned Troy, Jackson Heights, Oswego at Clifton Clyde. They had a really big win last week, Clifton Clyde. Madison versus El Saline. We got Central Plains versus Chase County. Lebo paying a visit to Osborne. Rula Vista at Axtell. Frankfurt at
Marmaton Valley.
Marmaton Valley, if I can read. Sabetha versus Nemaha Central. That should be another fun one. And the third straight year these teams have met in the playoffs.
The third straight year they've met in the playoffs and played in the regular season.
Yeah, because what was it? Last 2 years was sub-state. Mm-hmm. This year's a little bit earlier, 2 weeks earlier for regionals. And our last one we have Sterling versus Valley Heights. So we still have a lot of local teams. There are some matchups where we are going to lose some teams, unfortunately. That's just, of course, how the bracket unfolds. So we will see what sectionals can bring us. But yeah, Katie, there should be some teams that probably will move on to next week, and we will have games next week. Don't worry, there will be some teams that will win for us. We will have a pretty decent amount of games, and don't forget as well, the big top 10 showdown in Allen Fieldhouse tonight. Ooh. KU, North Carolina, number 1 versus number 9.
Rematch of the national championship from 2 years ago.
That's right. So that should be very fun. We will have highlights of that as well in the show, so stick with us. We'll have the updates on the website as well to see if KU can move to 2-0 on the season, so that should be another fun one, Katie. I think that should be a very, very fun environment tonight.
Yes, Allen Fieldhouse. We will definitely have FOMO not being there, but we will be having our own fun here with high school football anyways, and we will have the scores updated throughout the night on our scoreboard online. And don't forget to come back at 10:15 and hang out with us while we go over all this stuff. And we will have highlights of that KU game just in case you can't see it.
Exactly, and that game is on ESPN2. And as well,
is that 6 o'clock?
At 6.
Bright and early.
And if you have score updates for us, please email those to us. Send them to Twitter, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter. Whatever you have, please send us your scores.
If your game unfortunately falls into a lightning delay, for all we know,
let us know.
Knock on wood not, but
let us know. So yeah, we should have a lot of fun games this week again, Katie. I think we have 11 or 12 again this week. So
we got a lot of good teams.
Should be a lot of fun. But stay tuned with us for 10:15 again. Michaela Kelly at our game of the week, St. Mary's at Osage City. She'll be live for us at 6 and 10 o'clock as well during Kansas Prep Zone. So we will see you then.
Adios.